It's one thing I really love about the games that Frontier Development makes is that there's a basis in science and in nature. And that comes back in Planet Zoo.
In Planet Zoo, we're really trying to get the most authentic looking animals as we possibly can. And that's not just in the way they look, but that's also in the way they behave, the way they animate, the way they sound.
The benchmark, oddly enough, was set quite clearly with Planet Coaster. We've researched very, very heavily. We've engaged with experts, both in zoos and within biology departments. Our animation team have studied hours and hours of video footage. The character modelling team have done an exceptional job, really, really looking at all of the details of the animals. And you bring all these things together and layer on all the behaviours, and you end up with authentic looking and behaving animals.
What we wanted the animals to feel like was that there was a reason for them to be there in the player's zoo, and that they would each bring their own uniqueness and richness to the player's experience. So we identified early on that we want each animal to have its own bespoke rig and its own bespoke set of animations. This involved researching each animal individually and really identifying and honing in on what makes that animal unique to other animals.
One of the most exciting things about working with these animals is to look into what makes each of these animals special. The Indian peafowl, for example, has some really unique behaviors, unlike anything else in the animal kingdom. So we will go to the extremes of making sure every feather in the tail of the peacock has its own bone that the animators can use, so everything behaves exactly as you'd expect it to.
All animals have their basic needs, need to drink, to have food, to have space. Some of them have social requirements, some of them don't. Some of them actually want to very much live a solitary existence. So you've got a number of things that you have to balance from a welfare point of view, which is fairly common to all animals, and some of them are very, very specific. We also set our zoos in various biomes around the planet, and where you build your zoo makes a big difference to the actual welfare of the animals.
Weather's really impactful on animals as it is on us. And in Planet Zoo, we also bring that weather back in. So we have, snow, we'll have rain, we'll have really hot temperatures, really cold temperatures. And it's really important for us that the animals also respond to these changes in their environment as they would in real life.
Animals will sometimes interact with their surroundings. The African elephant is a great example of when it preens itself, it'll throw a lovely cloud of dust over its head. And we have systems that know what terrain the animal is on. So if it's in water, it'll spray water over its back. If it's in snow, it's going to throw some snow over its head. The animals need to be able to get around their environment in a believable way, and that environment can be anything. It's hard enough authoring an animation set for characters when you can control the environment, but when you can't anticipate what the player's going to build. We had to build a lot of tech into our pipeline to deal with any situation, and that includes walking, swimming, jumping.
The environments in Planet Zoo are the most detailed we've ever created in the sound department. We have things like specific birds for specific biomes. On the temperate biome, you hear birds you would hear in that environment. When the temperature rises, you hear more crickets. When it starts snowing, a lot of those sounds become muffled. In the rain, you'll hear impact of rain on all the different surfaces, underneath trees, on the water surface. You even get a different soundscape when you put the camera on the water. So we really wanted your creativity of an environment to be reflected in the sounds you hear.
Animals are very, very, very specific in terms of the audio. If you go to the wild, an animal will not make actually a lot of the sounds, but in the game, we want to actually translate that into a form that it's interesting. All the sounds that are not unique to the animal in terms of communication, that's all made by the sound team. Planet says again that you can go from up in the sky to really close to the animal, and we really want that sound to come through.
The welfare of your animals is not just restricted to their environment and their needs, it also extends to their health. Now, one of the ways that modern zoos approach this problem is by maintaining a good genetic pool. And we've injected the same kind of system into Planet Zoo. And this system could affect your animal's longevity, their health, or even their appearance.
Something we want players to take away from this is to get a better understanding of the animals that are in zoos and animals that are in nature. So conservation plays a really important role.
If through this game we can highlight some of the key conservation issues and things that everybody should be aware of, then that just feels really good to be able to provide that, whilst also providing a really fun, exciting game.
What I think makes Planet Zoo really unique is the amount of attention to detail. So we're not just looking at, the bare statistics of how do you take care of an animal. We're also looking at how do you make sure that animal's happy? How do we make sure that the management is fun? How do we make sure that the educational value is there? How do we make sure that our creativity is meaningful? And I think combining those three, the management, the education, and the creativity, is the thing that really makes Planet Zoo unique. And I hope that that entire journey becomes really meaningful to all the players, so that you're not just looking after some computer-generated images, you're looking after some actual animals that are living and breathing in your own zoo. And I hope that's what everyone has a lot of fun with.